Welcome back to Nathan Bell's podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Today, Nathan will be talking about materialism.
Yeah, well, I think about materialism a lot. In my 20s, I read a lot of Buddhist literature, so I was very much of the view that meaning and value in life came from spiritual pursuits, relationships, communication, friendships, and that was what it mattered in life more than having material possessions. And for a long time, I was of the view that I'm a real minimalist. I don't own a lot of property, and I don't need to own a lot of property. I don't need to have Ferraris. I don't even need to own a house. I'm happy just to rent. I can't take a house that I own with me when I die. At this stage, I don't have any children to inherit any property that I own, so I'm satisfied as long as I've got a roof over my head, and I'm happy to be renting, and I'd be happy to rent for the rest of my life. I'm not obsessed with owning property. I have realised as I've gotten older, security is important, and I regret not pursuing more financial security in my 20s. I expected to be very successful. That hasn't worked out. And now I'm in a position where I don't have financial security. I've got some financial security because I receive welfare, but it's minimal money, and it's certainly not enough to do the things that I'd like to do in life. So as I've gotten older, I've realised there is value in materialism. It is important to have possessions and to have property and to have money so that your basic survival needs are met. And that's the big realisation I've had about materialism in the last few years, is it's important to have your basic survival needs met. But really, outside of having my survival needs met, I don't feel any urgency to have billions of dollars. And if I had billions of dollars, that'd be great. But what I realise is having billions of dollars would give me a better quality of life. It would mean that I could travel the world. It would mean that I could have a house in New York that I could go to once a year. I'd like to have a house in New York and a house in LA so that I could go to those places and escape to my holiday home. But I still think those things are all a nice added bonus on top of having good relationships and having a good understanding of the world. And I'm much more spiritual in what I think is valuable. I think it's more important in this short life that we live, to come to a cosmic understanding of what life is and how the universe works. And I value knowledge above all. That's why I say I'm a wizard, because the wizard values knowledge, and what is most important to me is my understandings and my philosophies about what is the nature of the universe and what is the meaning of life. And I gain much more satisfaction. And I don't have a lot. I live a pretty poor basic life, and I'm a minimalist, and compared to a lot of people in the community, I'm just broke and struggling financially. But I have great life satisfaction because I've studied physics and because I've studied science and philosophy, and I have this comprehensive understanding of what is my place in the universe. And I understand, as I've said in previous videos, that I will die and eventually the universe will die, and I'm a nihilist. None of it really matters at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, one day the universe will cease to exist, and it will be as if nothing ever happened. And what was it all for? Nothing, because it will all cease to exist and fade to oblivion. So I want to have good times in my life. I want to share relationships with good people who treat me with respect. I want to communicate ideas. I want to understand how the world works. I want to have knowledge. And mostly I want to have friendships and good relationships. And I think that's what gives you a quality life. But as I said, what I've come to realise over the years, I've moved a bit away from my Buddhist non-materialist thinking, and I've realised, well, I don't really have financial security now. And I started to think, it would be nice to have all those things. It would be nice to have millions of dollars. It would be nice to have a collection of sports cars. It would be nice to have homes all over the planet where I could go to and to have the money to go on holidays and to travel around the world, exploring the world, because money and financial security makes life easier and makes it more satisfying. But it's not the be-all, end-all, and it's certainly not the most important thing in my life. And I could have more property in my house. I don't have a TV. I abandoned TV many years ago. I don't have a stereo. If I want to listen to music, I listen to it on my phone. But it would be nice to have a nice set of headphones and to have a stereo. But still, I don't feel like I'm lacking in life because I don't have a lot of property. Some people have so much property, they're hoarders, and that's where they get all their satisfaction in life, from having all this property. The property that I would want, if I had lots of property, I would want recording equipment so that I could create music. I would want cameras and editing software so that I can create movies. And as long as I have recording equipment and cameras and editing software that facilitate me to create more meaningful art and content, then that's what would give me more satisfaction from having more money. I don't need to have a Ferrari. That's just a status symbol. What's the difference? A car transports you from A to B. My view is the purpose of a car is to take you from one place to another. Why does it have to be this big, expensive, luxurious sports car? It just takes you from one place to another. And I don't need to have nice clothes either. It's nice to look appealing and to look nice, but at the end of the day, my view is the purpose of clothing is to protect you from the weather. We wear clothing to regulate our body temperature so that in winter we're not cold and in summer we're not hot, and so we're not exposed to the elements. I'm very practical like that. The purpose of clothing is to protect you from the elements. It doesn't matter what clothing you're wearing, as long as the clothing serves the practical purpose of protecting you from the elements. I went into a Gucci shop in Sydney once when I was in Sydney. $1,000 they wanted for a t-shirt. I thought, well, why? Why? Why does it have more value than a shirt that I would buy at Coles? At Big W. The item of clothing is there to shelter your naked body, because people find it inappropriate for people to be walking around naked, and that's okay. And the clothing is there to protect you from the weather. So why am I going to spend $1,000 on a t-shirt? Why does it have more value than a t-shirt I would buy at Big W that does the same thing? So that's how I feel about property. I'm not big on having lots of property. I'm more into spiritual pursuits about philosophy and having purpose and meaning and understanding the world and having good relationships, and that's more important to me. But as I said, as I've gotten older and I've struggled a bit more with money, I've realised it would be nice to have that better financial security, just so I wasn't struggling to eat, and so I could have the things that give my life joy. But maybe if we abandoned capitalism, went towards communism, and everyone had their basic needs met, money wouldn't be the determining point on if people had satisfying lives. It'd be nice to have some money so that I could do more exciting things. I'd like to go to the movies a bit more, and I'd like to go out and eat better dinner. But still at the end of the day, what I draw meaning from in life is philosophy and science and knowledge and understanding. So I'm still very minimalist and still very anti-materialism, and I don't think that having all this property is going to give me a spiritually rewarding or satisfying life experience. But as I said, as I've gotten older and struggled a bit more, I've realised it would be nice to have financial security. So that is the importance of having material wealth, is so you can live a life where you're not struggling and starving, and so that your needs are met, and so that on top of that you can do some fun things and enjoy yourself. So drop a comment in the comment section about what you think about materialism and whether you're materialistic or spiritual, and let me know what you think.